You know, guys, it's gotta really suck being PewDiePie, right? It's gotta really be terrible being PewDiePie. And I'm not being facetious on that front. I legitimately think it has got to suck being Felix. And the reason why is because you've got a dude, 100 million subscribers, most popular individual YouTuber on the planet, just got married, is just coming off a couple controversies, tries to do something in his mind that he feels is the right thing to show that he's grown and evolved and moved past where he is, or what's been kind of also thrust upon him unfairly, I might add, in some cases. And then he comes out and gets in more trouble. Like, Felix is a walking meme. He's just a walking meme at this point. And there's been a few memes made about me, so I understand what it's like. But when I talk about that, it's more like it feels almost kind of ridiculously like cartoonish and comical. So he came on out, got his red diamond play button, or whatever it is, 100 million subs. And then he says, "Hey, listen, by the way, also I'm donating money to the ADL, 50 grand to the ADL." Now, when I first heard that, I was laughing because I'm just like, wait, aren't they partnered with YouTube? Aren't they partnered part of their trust and safety team? Aren't they part of the group that YouTube looks to determine whether or not a channel should be taken down for hate speech or something? Like, that's the ADL, right? And I didn't really think much about it. I made the joke. I'm like, oh, 50 grand to the ADL. Scary PewDiePie season 2 confirmed. Thinking that was more or less probably what it is, right? He was going to go to the ADL. He was going to donate the money as like a sign of goodwill, good faith with YouTube, and get Susan Wojcicki to release his show. And I say that because also there's a whole thing with YouTube Premium and the television shows there that are becoming more ad based versus behind a paywall. So I thought that could be something they could use to get people to go and check that out, considering the fact that the YouTubers that they use to get YouTube Premium didn't really shill it because there wasn't much of a point on their end. So the whole program, which is a couple years old, kind of fell apart. So that was my initial take on it. And then people lost their mind. People come out there saying like, he's stabbing YouTubers in the back. And I don't think he was stabbed. I never would assume that PewDiePie would stab anyone in the back intentionally. But you had Tim Pool and the Quartering and a bunch of other people out there running all these clickbait headlines of, oh, he's stabbing everyone in the back. The dude's trying to move on with his damn life, man. I mean, regardless of what you may think of him, he's still a human. He's still trying to move on with his life, and he probably thought this was a good way to go about it. He released a statement saying, no, I'm just trying to move on past this stuff. I don't want to be associated with any of this alt-right crap anymore that keeps kind of getting flung at him. But at the same time, PewDiePie is kind of attracted to drama, and a lot of the drama on YouTube in the past year has been kind of aimed at the right-wing alt-right side of things. So he's talked about it quite a bit. So one could argue that it's not entirely unfounded that people would come to that conclusion. And I'm saying that not because I agree with it. I'm saying that because people operate on that particular mindset. We see thumbnails or titles or article headlines, and that kind of dictates our initial approach to it, simply because that's what starts off the narrative. And so you can see how people might kind of come to those conclusions if they look at that type of slimy journalism that's not actually going to go through and explain it in the headline. But then again, if you do that in the headline, it's not sexy. No one clicks on it. It's been proven. If you have like a pretty factual headline on a video or an article, people are going to look at it and go, I'm not going to get anything out of this more than what I need to based upon the headline. So there's that. Then this morning, he puts out another video where he's all like, I made a mistake. I did not realize that the ADL was the ADL who tried to deplatform me or argued for my deplatforming a couple of years ago when the whole adpocalypse thing kicked off and the whole PewDiePie nonsense kicked off. Like, he made that statement. And I was all like, all right, man. All right, cool. Like, I get it. This is what you want to do. You want to pull back the 50K. Probably not the best move, in my opinion, because who are you really listening to? The people have argued that his whole fan base revolted, which isn't true. A lot of people out there probably don't even know about it. The rise from 60 million to 100 million came mostly because of the Battle with T series. And that came mostly because Mr. Beast was out there promoting it nonstop. A lot of the people aren't even involved in the commentary community or understand what's going on with the commentary community. A lot of people have no knowledge. Susan Wojcicki herself has even come out and said that the commentary side of things is just such a small, minuscule amount of views that it's so low, not even a drop in the bucket sort of thing. And even to Felix, 50 grand is a drop in the bucket to this guy. A couple years ago, he pulled in 12 million in 1 year. How many millions is he making every year? How much money did he make off of that branded video that ended up having that announcement in it? Was it 50 grand? Potentially. I would argue probably. He's got 100 million reach. They're going to pay him a lot of money, if not a couple hundred grand to do it. You know, it was nothing to him. And somebody had recommended it to him. And that's where I think this is where the situation is. I think that someone on his team was like, you should probably do a charitable donation, right? To help kind of, you know, cleanse your image a little bit. Because that's what it's for, right? To show you've grown up and cleanse your image a little bit. And he's like, all right, fine. And like, who do you think? Because he's busy getting ready for the wedding and the honeymoon and everything else. Plus he puts out content every day. And they go, well, the ADL, they work with YouTube or something, right? Then maybe they're good. He's like, okay, fine. And he didn't think much about it because why would he? You know, why would he? PewDiePie is so big that he probably doesn't pay as close attention to this stuff anymore. And I don't blame the guy for not, you know, he's just getting married to his longtime girlfriend. He wants to start a new chapter in his life. He wants to put a lot of that crap behind him. And he doesn't want to get himself in any more controversy. So when he comes out and he makes this statement, now it's a controversy, right? It's, oh, I pulled 50 grand from an anti-defamation, anti-bigotry. He kept calling it a charity. It's a nonprofit. The two are not mutually inclusive, right? So he pulls that, everyone loses their damn mind. And then he goes as far as to having that shirt he was wearing. And I'm watching that video and I'm like, is that like an Iron Cross on his shirt? What is he rocking, a No Fear t-shirt from 2003? Like, what the hell is going on here? And then it turns out that it's actually not an Iron Cross t-shirt, which is one of the reasons why Iron Cross is trending on YouTube right now, is because everyone's like, PewDiePie was pulling out of 50 grand from an anti-defamation, charity to fight anti-Semitism, and he's wearing an Iron Cross. He's a Nazi. Look, if it was an oopsie moment, and he could argue it is an oopsie moment, he does really well with oopsie moments. So if that is the long con, by all means, dude, bravo, you've done well. You've played everybody. But I don't think that it is, because the cross essentially is what's known as Bolnisi cross. It comes from the country of Georgia. It's associated with, I think, the Christianity in their country. So it looks very similar to an Iron Cross. Upon first example, it looks like an Iron Cross. But in reality, it's not. It's not what the Germans wore in World War I and what they used as medals in World War II. It's nothing connected to that. Right. But then again, people see it and they automatically make that assumption. Like the swastika, it was originally a good luck sign, but you tilt it on its axis and it represents a lot of mass murdering people. Right. So, you know, these symbols can be clearly interpreted in different ways if you don't quite know what you're looking for. And that's where we ultimately find ourselves, where it's both good and bad to be PewDiePie. It's one of those things where you just, I can't help but feel bad for the guy. I mean, people might sit there and go, but Matt, why would you care? He's got 100 million subscribers. He's got more money than he'll ever need in his entire life. Why would you feel bad for him at all in this? Because he's still a human, and humans are prone to errors, and humans make mistakes. And I've made mistakes. You've made mistakes. We've all made mistakes. And we all don't want to be absolutely just completely, chained down with boulders to our past. Right? We don't want that. We want to be able to move on with our life. We want to be able to sit there and grow. And that's what I think he was doing. I think he wanted to give some money to charity. He just chose a charity that works with YouTube and that apparently is active and complicit with deplatforming of people whose opinions they find vehemently disgusting. Never mind, not all the ones that I think the ADL have been involved in have been worthy of them needing to be involved in. But we're in this weird place right now. And of course, when PewDiePie says or does anything, people pay attention, and I just feel bad for the guy. I do. At the end of the day, I feel bad for the guy. I wish him the best new marriage, right? Probably a little mini Felix on the way pretty soon. trying to get his career back on track, trying to get away from a lot of the other nonsense. And you know what? A lot of people are trying to do the same thing. YouTube right now is going to be vastly different 6 months from now. And a lot of channels out there that kind of delve into edgy content are most likely not going to actually be around or be doing the same thing because there's no money on the table. And even Felix with his 100 million subs and the fact that he still only pulls in a couple million views of video showing that a lot of those subs are simply just symbolic is probably feeling it a little bit as well. And that is why it is just a very weird place to be right now. It's a weird place to be a YouTuber. It's a weird time to be a content creator. And it's for the rest of his life is going to be a weird time to be Felix. I just wish he would have fewer oopsie moments and take note of his surroundings before doing something or doing the proper research on the organization of which you're going to donate money to. You know, they're all trying to call him anti-Semitic now. He's pulling money from a Jewish charity, which is not a charity. It's a nonprofit. And it's a mess. It's a mess. He'll never see this. Not many of you will probably see it either, and that's okay. But I just want to put my thoughts out there. I feel bad for PewDiePie. I always feel bad for PewDiePie when something like this happens because I've met the guy once. He's a really nice dude, really laid back, and everyone out there really seems to like him. And you can tell he is just a guy. And that's the key thing. He's just a guy who finds himself in this impossible situation of being the largest individual content creator on the planet. And everything he does is subject to insane over scrutiny, all for the sake of clicks and likes and retweets and shares and everything else. And you know what? I play right into that trap too. I fully admit. And if you guys have comments on this one, let me know down below. Be sure to toss a like on the video if you did enjoy this particular rant. And let me know anything else going on in your mind in regards to the situation down in the comment section. I look forward to reading your thoughts and your opinions, good or bad. And I'll talk to you all later. Have yourself a great day and peace.